everyone. You're listening to the Elisa Fucci Show. I'm your host, Elisa Fucci. I'm a motivational speaker, podcaster, an international best-selling book author, relationship life coach, and certified breathwork detox facilitator. They say real love takes work. Let me and experts from all over the world help you make being in a relationship fun and easy. Hello. Welcome to today's podcast episode. Today is another episode based on a question presented by a listener. Again, if you have any questions that you would like to submit for future podcasts, let me know. I'd love to help you have better relationships, stronger, happier relationships. Okay. Today's episode is all about empowering you to make a decision. If you are, like my listener, struggling on making a decision, let me help you by empowering you to make the decision today or within the next 24 hours after you listen to this podcast, and have a step-by-step process on how to follow through on your decision. Have your own back and be assertive in your decision. I want to help you so you can know with certainty what to do and stop wasting so much power, energy, and time not knowing what to do. We spend so much time in this place. It's kind of like the waiting place inside the Dr. Seuss book, where we're just waiting for something to happen, for someone to change their mind, for someone to change who they are, for someone to finally step up, for someone to finally see the good in us and see all our effort, for something to happen so then we can make the decision. If you're finding yourself stuck in this waiting place, and let me tell you that it's not a fun place to be at. It's not fun because we feel so disempowered. We feel victims and we feel like we have no control over our lives. And I know it feels good not making the decision right now. I know that in some part of you feels comfort not making a choice right now. I know because it's true. I know that making a decision will mean work, right? It will mean that you have to change. Either way, it sounds hard. But let me tell you that what you're going through right now is a lot harder than making a decision, because we are moving backwards. Not just in ourselves, in our lives, but in the relationship. If we are not making a decision, we are not progressing. We're not evolving. We're not using our power to move forward, to say what we want, to follow through on what we want. So today, I want to empower you. I want to give you the tools so you can make the decision. And if you're like my listener or like me years ago, and you are choosing or deciding, yeah, that's the right word. You're questioning and deciding whether you should stay or leave the marriage or relationship, then listen up, because I will help you find out and decide today what is best for you. I can't tell you. Only you know what's best for you and your family and your future and your children's future and generations to come. Because yes, you're one decision away from changing the rest of your life. And let me add, everybody else's choice, everybody else's lives as well. So when it comes to making decisions, I want to let you know that all the power comes from you saying yes or no, or making a decision right now. Okay. When we don't make a decision, we're not committing ourselves to the relationship. We're really in limbo. We're not really committing ourselves to our husbands. We're not committing to anything. We're just letting our circumstances, letting other people dictate how we're going to live our lives, how our marriage is going to be. Just notice that that's what's happening if you are not making a decision. So ultimately, when we don't know what to do, when we don't know, when we tell ourselves, let me rephrase that, when we tell ourselves that we don't know what to do, really all we're saying is, I don't trust myself to make this big decision. And if I do make a decision, what if I get it wrong? Ultimately, that's what you're saying. And I know if we've never made a big decision before, it's hard. It's a lot of weight that we put on these decisions, but not making it is costing us energy, time, and the future is costing us so much. It's taking a part of who we are. We are dying as we're not making decisions. I remember when I had to make a decision of whether to leave the marriage or stay. I pondered on this for months because I knew how big this decision was going to be. I knew that it was going to be hard. And back then, how I made decisions is completely different than how I make decisions now. Back then, I made decisions by first testing out, like from people that I love, just throwing the idea. So if you found yourself doing that, kind of saying out loud, well, maybe I should stay. Maybe I'm gonna leave. No, I think I'm gonna leave. And seeing what other people say. And then based on what other people say, you let that influence your decision to maybe stay a little bit longer or maybe start considering leaving. I used to do that. I used to let other people tell me, dictate my emotions, my decisions. But ultimately, I would go back and pray and go and tap in within and see what felt good to me. But at first, I went outwards and then inwards. Now, what I would like to teach you is to go inwards and find the truth of what you know needs to happen or what you really want to do. Okay. When I was looking at why, like just decisions that why you would want to leave this marriage, I looked it up just on the internet, just for fun. And I saw some of the things that were coming up. How do you know when to leave a marriage? When enough is enough? When to just go to the divorce, right? And I noticed a few things and I want to bring them up because they might be, I remember feeling all of this, okay? And some of them were, you're unhappy more than you're happy. And let me tell you that that is all something that is in your control. You can control your emotions. You can determine when you're going to be happy and what makes you happy in the relationship. You decide to start looking at what your current life looks like, your current relationship, your spouse, and look for evidence of what makes you happy inside of it. So that's under your control. I love how all these things that they say on the internet They're all things that you can control. So I wanted to bring them up because people think that, well, that's it. There's nothing you can do. If you're unhappy a lot of the time, then it's a sign that you should leave the marriage. No, because you can control that. You decide how often you want to be happy in your marriage by the thoughts you have about your spouse and your marriage. Also, the next one is your needs aren't being met. Well, hello. That means that you need to communicate them. That means you need to find ways to meet your own needs. Again, all in your control. The next one that I saw was you're giving more than you're receiving. And I get this. It can be hard, especially if you are doing the inner work, if you have been going to therapy, reading books, doing master classes and coaching and doing all the work and healing, and you see your spouse that is not doing the work. I know that it can be hard to find balance in the marriage. But again, this is all in your control. You get to decide how to play the terms, how to play the game. You get to decide the terms of the marriage. That's what I wanted to say. You get to speak up. This is where you get to stand up for what you want in the marriage, what you expect in the marriage, and follow through. Another one is you don't feel comfortable being yourself. Well, why? Why don't you feel comfortable being yourself? Like these are all like I think they're silly because I think it's all in your control. Again, feeling uncomfortable being yourself is a choice. I remember I couldn't be myself around my husband when we were married for the first time. For 11 years, I felt like I was someone else around him, and I could only be myself and loosen up around my sisters. Well, that changed when I started looking inward, when I started loving and accepting myself, then showing up as myself without apologizing was easy. And whenever my husband said things, I didn't take him personally because I know who I am as a person. So again, showing up as myself in front of him is fine now. I can be myself. I am more comfortable around him than I am with my siblings now because I have done the inner work, because I accept myself. So around him, I am no different. The next one is you don't feel respected. Usually, when we feel we're not respected, then there's something there that needs to be looked into. There's probably a little bit of disrespect from your end too, because again, that's a feeling. And when we feel we're not respected and we think he's not respecting me, we feel hurt. And then we act from being hurt and disrespected, and we show up that way in the relationship. And guess what we're going to get? And guess what we're going to give, right? So these are just some things that people, the internet out there is saying of reasons why you should get divorced or why you should leave your marriage. But I'm here to tell you, you have the power over all of those things. And I just wanted to shine a little light on it so you can see that there's hope in every relationship. It's just a matter of whether you want to do the work or not, whether it's the right type of work or not. Okay. Not saying you should stay or leave. Again, this is your decision. You get to decide what's best for you. So I am going to give you a few questions. So I want you to get a piece of paper and start writing down the answers so you can get to the point where you know what to do and the steps to take next so you can follow through on your decision. Okay.